This story starts with Alex, our protagonist, waking up in the middle of a scary fight. As soon as he opened his eyes, a monstrous anaconda tried to bite his big head off. But just in time, the leader of the adventure group, Gonzalez, jumped in and chopped off the venomous snake's head. Gonzalez was pissed at Alex for falling asleep like a drunk sloth during the battle. He shouted at Alex and told him to retreat to the back if he was going to be useless. Alex, shaking with fear, ran to the back. But another poisonous snake chased him. Luckily, a girl mage helped him by shooting fiery magic arrows that burned the snake. Alex looked at the dead snakes and felt amazed by the mage's cool magic. He really wished he could use magic like that, too. While he was daydreaming, another giant snake sneaked up behind him. This time, to ensure the protagonist gets a good bite. But before it could, another adventurer jumped in and blocked the attack with a big shield. The dude was mad, too. The dude yelled at Alex to leave the battlefield and said he hated having Alex around because he was totally useless and had no skill. The dude also reminded Alex that every adventurer needed to have some kind of skill. But Alex didn't have any at all. Even worse, Alex was plagued by bad luck that followed him everywhere. Alex collapsed to one knee, unable to move as tears welled in his eyes. He had left his village 3 years ago to become an adventurer, but people still called him Mr. No Skill. The only reason some groups let him join was to use him as bait or have him carry their bags. As Alex sat on the ground, a giant dead snake fell nearby, but he jumped out of the way just in time. Still, he didn't want to let down the only adventurer party that gave him a chance. He remembered his girlfriend, Nadia, who was waiting for him in the village, and the promise he made to her to become a real adventurer. Before Alex left his village, Nadia had given him a shiny magic stone as a lucky charm. She had begged him to come back safe. Now, as he looked at that lucky stone tied around his hand, he suddenly saw something scary. Gonzalez was caught in the coils of another giant snake. The monstrous snake was about to feast on him like Doritos. Even though he was scared, Alex charged at the snake to save Gonzalez. The girl mage was shocked, and even Gonzalez, who was about to be swallowed whole, couldn't believe his eyes. Alex jumped high, 30 feet into the air, with his sword, trying to hit the snake. But when his blade hit, it broke into pieces. A few days later, the scene shifted to the heart of the city, inside the Adventurer Guild. A lady named Chico, who worked at the front desk, scolded Alex for risking his life. She said Alex was lucky to be alive with only small injuries. Gonzalez stepped in and told her to go easy on him, saying Alex had tried to save his life. Once Chico left, Alex quickly apologized to Gonzalez for not being helpful during the quest. But Gonzalez said that wasn't the problem. Gonzalez mentioned that he actually liked Alex and admired how hard he tried without taking shortcuts. But he also said that Alex could never be a real adventurer without any special skills. Gonzalez warned that if Alex kept going on adventures without any skills, he'd be on a first-class ticket to the great beyond sooner than expected, and that was what he didn't want to happen. Alex was stunned and silent. He could not say a word. Gonzalez pressed on, demanding to know why Alex was so hellbent on becoming an adventurer despite having zero fighting skills. Before Alex could answer, Gonzalez suggested that maybe he should try a different job, one that didn't involve clapping monsters. Alex thought about it and agreed that Gonzalez was right. Then Alex shared why he wanted to be an adventurer in the first place. Ever since he was little, he had always dreamt of helping the weak just like the legendary knight. Gonzalez interjected, asking if he meant the knight who lived for 50 years, impressed the white dragon, and defeated the black dragon, and Alex said yes. A few weeks later, Alex made a big decision. He gave up being an adventurer. He went to the guild and told Gonzalez he was going back to his hometown to live a quiet life. He thanked Gonzalez for being the first person to believe in him. Then, Alex got on the next available carriage to his village, Dragon's Renome. While riding in the carriage, Alex thought about how his 3 years as an adventurer were over. He worried that Nadia and the villagers would be disappointed. He imagined people whispering about how the mini-man with no skills gave up after bragging about becoming a legendary knight. After several days, Alex arrived at his village. From a high spot, he looked down at the village and felt really embarrassed. Then, someone suddenly covered his eyes from behind. He tried to remove the hands, but the girl asked him a question first. She wanted to know who the childhood friend of the short dummy was who came home in shame after 3 years. Alex quickly answered, Nadia, and Nadia uncovered his eyes with a big smile, welcoming him home. They walked into the village together, and the first thing Alex did was visit his parents' graves. He told them he had returned for good. He also thanked Nadia for keeping the graves clean, but she said it was no big deal since his parents were like her own, too. Then Nadia leaned close and asked if Alex remembered the promise he made her. When Alex hesitated, Nadia gave him a scary look and said he had forgotten it. Plus, he hadn't even written her a letter when he was away. Alex tried to explain that he was too busy being an adventurer and never had the time to write her. This made Nadia ask if his feelings for her were that shallow. Alex apologized and said he really wanted to become an amazing adventurer, but it didn't work out. He never got good at using swords, and people told him he would never awaken any skills for the rest of his miserable life. Even the few groups that accepted him eventually kicked him out like yesterday's trash. Alex got all emotional and then told Nadia that, to sum it all up, his adventurous journey had been pointless. Seeing how down he was, Nadia hugged him tight and told him to cheer up. That hug made Alex remember the day he left, when Nadia gave him her gem to remember her by. That was why he always wanted to be strong. Alex confessed to Nadia that his goal had always been to get a better rank so he could take care of her for the rest of his life. But now, Alex pointed out that he had no reason to be cheerful. He made a promise to her, and he had failed to keep it. After listening to him, Nadia suddenly asked a question. She asked if Alex would take her as his wife. Alex froze. He didn't expect that. He dropped to his knees, crying, and said he was a pathetic man. But Nadia gently patted his head and asked if he would still keep his other promise, even though his adventurous dreams had failed. Alex held her hand and said yes. He promised to always take care of her. That night, under the stars, they exchanged marriage vows. Nadia swore to be his wife and stay by his side, and Alex swore to be her husband and protect her for life. From that night on, Alex didn't care about his failed dreams or missing skills. He was just happy to have Nadia. The villagers even threw them a surprise wedding party. Alex felt so grateful. As he watched Nadia sleep that night, all his depression and anxiety vanished. But later that night, he couldn't sleep, so he took a walk around the village. That's when he saw something strange, a huge monster footprint. He was confused. He recalled that the only kind of monster that had roamed the village had been slimes and goblins. But this footprint was definitely something else. Curious, Alex followed the foot track and noticed that it stopped in front of a tree. He looked up, wondering if the monster had climbed or erased its trail. All of a sudden, he felt a bad omen. Before he could react, a mighty ogre leapt from above, aiming to crush his head with its massive feet. But Alex dodged, and the ogre crashed to the ground. Alex managed to survive. He could not believe his eyes. Before him stood a mighty ogre, a mid-class variant of the goblin species. He wanted to run, but then he remembered Nadia. She was his wife now. He had to protect her. That was the promise he made. With this in mind, Alex stood his ground and challenged the ogre. At that moment, a dark aura glowed from the jewel on his hand. Alex swore to stop the monster, even at the cost of his life. The orc saw the dark, menacing aura emanating from Alex and was frightened. Immediately, the orc fled for his life, shocking Alex. But before Alex could comprehend what was going on, a dark fog enveloped the area. Alex felt something strange inside. His skills were finally awakening. Suddenly, a dragon-like figure appeared, demanding to know the strength of Alex's oath and urging him to prove it, while Alex stood frozen in fear. The scene shifted to Alex's childhood, where his grandfather prepared for a journey and asked Alex to make a solemn promise. The old geezer urged Alex to grow strong and protect Nadia. Though just a boy, Alex vividly recalled vowing to his grandfather that he would always safeguard Nadia. Alex suddenly woke up. The next morning, to a beautiful surprise, his wife, Nadia, was cooking breakfast while wearing a thirst trap that showed off her holy hips of distraction. Alex was amazed and couldn't believe that a 10/10 baddie, as Nadia was really his wife. As he walked over to tell her how hot she looked, Nadia noticed that Alex's clothes were dirty. Alex didn't want to tell her about the incident with the dragon, so he tried to distract her with a kiss. But just as things were getting romantic, a bald-headed fun spoiler named Mark suddenly burst into their house. This made both Alex and Nadia very mad. They told Mark it was rude and wrong to bother a newly married couple so early in the morning. They even joked that if he kept doing that, he was destined to grow old with only his hand as company. Mark quickly apologized and explained he had an emergency. He told them that the town needed guards to help protect the harvest. Furthermore, Mark revealed that goblins had been spotted near the farms and in the forests. When Alex offered to help, Mark was relieved. Mark acknowledged that, despite Alex's lack of skills, his years as an adventurer made him a valuable asset to the defense force. So Alex, Nadia, and Mark went to the farmlands together. Mark felt bad for asking newlyweds to help, but Nadia smiled and said it was okay. She even said the nice weather made it a fun outing. While helping farmers gather crops, Alex suddenly saw something move in the bushes. He got ready to fight, thinking it was a monster, but he relaxed when he saw a cute winged creature flutter toward him. Alex smiled at the creature, but then someone yelled. A wild boar was charging at him from behind. Alex didn't move fast enough, but Nadia jumped in front of him. She closed her eyes, focused her energy, and when the boar came close, she hit it hard on the head and knocked it out. The farmers erupted in cheers, showering Nadia with praise for her bravery. After that, Alex picked up the baby flying creature and asked if they could keep it as a pet. Nadia was happy about that. Alex also complimented Nadia for how cool she was for taking down the boar, even though he still couldn't believe it. Nadia thanked him for the compliment, but downplayed her efforts by saying she was able to defeat the boar because the boar was already heavily wounded. Later that day, the head of the village guards, a man named Sieg, held a meeting. He told everyone that he had checked the boar's body and found a huge handprint on it. He was sure it was from the Goblin King. Some people didn't believe him, but Sieg explained how, many years ago, when the leader of the demi-humans arrived, the goblins started growing in number and evolving. Mark got really nervous and asked what they could do about it. Sieg said the only hope was to get help from the Adventurers Guild. Alex quickly agreed. Alex also said that he had already sent a letter to Gonzalez, a famous adventurer he used to work with. Mark was shocked that Alex knew Gonzalez, and Alex explained that Gonzalez used to be the leader of their adventuring team. Hearing that Gonzalez and his team were coming to help made the villagers feel better. But Alex didn't relent. He kept practicing his sword skills every morning. While practicing, Nadia saw him training at dawn and commended his dedication. Alex thanked her and said he had to keep training because he believed the monsters were planning to take over the village. Alex predicted it was only a matter of time before the monsters struck and emphasized his need to train rigorously to fight on the front lines as a former adventurer. Moreover, Alex stressed that, as a husband, he had to grow stronger to protect Nadia. Suddenly, Mark rushed into the compound, panicking. Mark breathlessly informed Alex and Nadia that the adventurers had arrived but were all covered in wounds. Mark further disclosed that the monsters had ambushed the adventurers who had come to save the village. Just as Mark described, Gonzalez and his team had been ambushed by the ogres and orcs on the outskirts of the village. But these weren't normal ogres, they were mutated variants and way stronger. An ogre attempted a sneak attack on Gonzalez, but the team's female mage swiftly neutralized it. But that didn't stop the monsters, as another orge launched an air attack just above Gonzalez. But at that moment, the village defense force arrived and took down most of the orges by shooting them down with arrows. Gonzalez felt another goblin behind him, but before he could do anything, Alex appeared from nowhere, jumping in just in time and tried slashing the goblin down. But the goblin blocked his strike with his hand. More goblins suddenly jump at Alex, but Alex is able to send them flying because of some mysterious whirlwind. Alex was also shocked at how he had managed to disperse the monsters. Gonzalez, after witnessing what Alex did, helped him up while impressively complimenting how much Alex had transformed. Alex, slightly flustered, tried downplaying his effort, but Gonzalez pointed out that his newfound strength must be because he had found someone to protect. Alex joined Gonzalez's team, and together they repelled most of the monsters. But for some reason, Alex still had a very bad feeling. It was as if something bad was about to happen. Then, a scary vision flashed in his mind, a dark monster grabbing Nadia. The image made him terrified, and he wasn't sure if it was just a dream or a warning. At that moment, someone screamed that the village was on fire. Alex started running toward the village as fast as he could. He didn't understand how the goblins had become smart enough to use tricks. Then it hit him. The attack on the adventurers was just a distraction. The goblins had tricked them into leaving the village unprotected. The village was the real target all along. Alex ran as fast as he could, thinking only about Nadia, who was still in the village. When he reached the fence, what he saw shocked him. Many villagers were lying dead, and houses had been destroyed. He found an injured man and asked what had happened. The man told him a powerful monster attacked the village and begged Alex to take his wife and run for their dear lives. Meanwhile, on the other side of the village, Nadia was helping Sieg, who had gotten hurt trying to protect everyone. Sieg begged her to run and hide, but Nadia refused. She said it was her job to protect both him and Alex. Suddenly, a giant hand grabbed her, just like in Alex's vision. The monster squeezed her hard, causing her lots of pain. The monster looked at her and felt something strange. He sensed the power of a dragon inside her. He squeezed Nadia harder when he could not understand why he could sense the power of a dragon inside her. The monster hated what he was feeling. The power of a dragon was a threat to his kind. So he slammed Nadia to the ground. The monster was about to crush her, but Alex appeared just in time and blocked the monster's fist with his sword. Nadia was shocked and asked why Alex was there. He was supposed to be outside the village. But then Alex lost his footing and was slammed into the ground with devastating force, shattering the earth. Nadia panicked and rushed to meet her husband to check if he was fine, but Alex just lay there motionless. Nadia started crying and begging Alex to wake up. The monster stood over them and laughed, calling them weak and calling Nadia the next dragon reborn. However, Nadia defiantly declared that she was no dragon reincarnate but Alex's wife, and her husband was not a pathetic fly but a mighty knight. Will Alex survive? Comment Dragon Daughter if you're eager to find out in our part 2. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. As always, thanks for watching.